Hi everyone. This is April 27th, the Workload API meeting. And we have a very light agenda here. And we can start with the first topic, which is discussing forming the working group. Um, so I think we already had this discussion in the past. And we wanted to just have like this discussion or extend this discussion before 1.37 release cycle started. So Matt, Maciek, everyone else, what do you think?
So I don't have strong opinion here. The opinion is pretty much the same as it was last time. I guess eventually we need to open, like we need to go that way and have a working group. The question is like, is it now or later? And if later, the question when, because we cannot postpone that indefinitely. So,
Jack?
Yeah, so I posted a quick topic about sig autoscaling sponsorship, and so this is sort of related. I just wanted to give a +1 to the working group from sig autoscaling's perspective because it would be super beneficial to us working on the downstream changes of this to also be sort of similarly downstream of some official structure. I think that would help our organization. Like we have a separate 1 hour meeting right now to what we're calling scheduler driven autoscaling, which is a bunch of things that we discussed at KubeCon, and hopefully some of the folks here are aware of around potential capacity and initiatives like that. So I think a working group that captured that, sponsored by sig scheduling primarily, would be fantastic for sig autoscaling.
Okay. Any other opinion on that? Really happy to have this discussion now. Because in that case, yeah, Dominic?
Yeah, sorry, I joined a bit late, but we are discussing the working group idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, of course we can have a working group in sig scheduling that I think has a cost, as we know, has several benefits. I would support if we decide to do that, and I think other SIG leads as well. We don't have a Maciek is here as well. We don't have Wojtek's opinion. I think his voice should be pretty important. Paweł, Matt, I'm not sure if you have already like shared your thoughts.
Yeah, so I can add that from operational perspective, the working group would be beneficial. Like even this meeting could be managed then by the working group. So yeah, I am +1. Like I second Dominic opinion on creating that. So as long as we are capable of doing that, I am okay.
Okay, so in that case, I will figure out how to start the process and open an issue, I believe, in the org to get the appropriate approval and like follow the process for kicking off this working group. Thank you so much for that. So I had a question. Did we discuss the topics from the last meeting agenda? Because I didn't attend this meeting. Did we discuss the scheduling simulation library and the composite bot group and other stuff?
Yes, we did that on the sig scheduling channel.
Oh,
So
sig
you can
scheduling.
watch the
Okay.
recording on the Kubernetes YouTube.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so the next topic actually is I would love to kick off the conversation related to 1.37 plan for the WAS. if we can start thinking about which kefs that would like to include, and if there's any new ideas that we need to start thinking about them. Yeah, I believe, and if there's any other work from 1.36 that's still left that we wanted to pick this up for 1.37. I will share the screen here. This is the dashboard for the workload aware, and I will add the link here as well for anyone. So in our backlog, we had couple of, let's say, just filter with the enhancement. We just have the composite pod group API, but we don't have any other work that we wanted to, like new work that we wanted to pick. Do we have anything that we wanted to start a conversation related to, so we can have it as action items here?
So I guess we need to clean up this dashboard, and because we already have like a bunch of things we are working on or like trying to, or actually working on, not really trying. So I think the most important one is we want to go with our API workload and pod group to beta. Right? Do we have a issue for that?
Gang scheduling, I guess.
Yes,
Time
that's
support.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is for the gang scheduling support. I will move it again to backlog and move this to 1.37.
Yes.
Okay.
And like in order to do that, we need to do a bunch of things, right? So basically that's driving the work. One is the workload-aware preemption, because we cannot really go to beta with workloads and pod group API without having this solved. And so this also needs to go to beta.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. The other is overall the things that we promise in the integrations, right? For example, to unblock job integration going to beta, we need to solve elasticity. So basically making the min count, at least the min count mutable, right?
But we are not going to have the job integration.
I don't think we can do that in 137, right? Because I think we need to first
Yeah.
need to promote the API, and only in 130 and like solve all
Exactly.
these problems, and only in 138 we'll go to beta.
Okay,
But
so
we can.
so you wanted to promote. Sorry, can you repeat again so I can have
So
it as
like unblocking elasticity, so elastic jobs, right, and like other elastic workloads. So basically, we need to make the at least min count mutable, and like start the discussion about other things that should be mutable in the workload or like pod group. There is only probably one discussion that we need to converge on, is in the Ray cluster integration. That was this discussion, and basically there's a concept of worker group, if I remember correctly. So that maps. Yeah. Oh, do we have someone from Ray today, or?
Yeah, I did the kube-ray integration.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like basically one of the valid use cases is adding and removing the worker groups, right? And this basically translates to adding or removing pod group templates. So that's like thing to like definitely we need to do that. The question is like when, right? Whether we need that for 137 or not. Like ideally yes, but we will see like how we look like when it comes to our capacity and like number of things that we need to do.
I think, I think for Ray, I think the gang of gangs would be much more beneficial than the removing of whole pod groups.
That's another thing we are working on. So basically extending the hierarchy, and Antoni already opened a draft for the CAP, right, for composite pod group. Not sure. Have we shared it here? I guess I wasn't here like last Monday.
last week we discussed it
Okay,
briefly. Like I shared the cap draft. Draft is a good word for that because there's a lot of to-dos, and actually I'll be only able to fill them out next week since I'm on call this week.
Yep.
But feel free to go ahead and read through it and leave your thoughts in there. But in general, this should address like the gang of gangs feature that you mentioned, and the other like major feature that we aim to target in 137 with this API is multi-level topology-aware scheduling.
So the gang of gang, you mean the pod group, the set,
The
like
composite pod group, right?
Composite.
That will allow that.
So
Yes.
it is, yeah. Okay, so this is the same. This is the same as composite. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What
And
else?
other things are obviously we have like a bunch of controller integrations that are like ongoing, like Ray driven by Mark, and like we have also others, right? Like train
Leader
job,
worker set.
yeah, leader worker set by Edwin.
Job set.
Yes.
And the train job, right? Is that
yes, and the train job. So I would say like for them we need at least like prototypes and like some designs to validate that the API that we have makes sense. There are like no gaps, etc. Because going to beta is like probably the last moment we can change something there like fundamentally. And the other thing is the topology-aware scheduling, right? Where we are in alpha. Ideally, we would go to beta. We'll see how it will go, but definitely also there's work in this work stream. So yeah.
Okay.
Like one of the things is like something that Pavel started recently, right? It was about figuring out the right APIs to call like multiple placement generation plugins at the same level, and also like at different levels for the composite pod group, right? So figuring out the right interfaces for that and what is the responsibility of the scheduling framework. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
So I guess Heba, like we can likely follow up offline on this dashboard and like ensure that we have everything here that we discussed now, and also like clean the backlog. But yeah.
Okay, perfect. Nice. Okay. So I think this gives like everybody that like a quick overview about what we are going to work on 1.37. Roughly, like it's not like for sure, but at least like we know now. Okay, any other discussion related to plan before moving to the next item? Okay, Jack.
Yeah, thanks. So I mostly covered this already in the earlier remarks, but SIG autoscaling is meeting weekly now to have formal discussions around scheduler-driven autoscaling. So this is going to address larger aspirations like potential capacity and a bunch of big concepts that are going to take a while, just like all the things that we're working on here. So I just posted that for some visibility. And again, I would be happy to sponsor a working group for workload-aware scheduling and have SIG autoscaling sort of fold under that. And we would have a light touch and report back our progress and all that kind of thing. But it'd be a great, I think the effort that we're doing isn't big enough to justify a working group, but we benefit from that organization, I think.
Yeah, I can see it as a work stream under this working group. And the integration, all the integration with other controllers can be another work stream. So I think in that way we can like organize everything related to TAS under this working group, hopefully. Right. Thank you, Jack. Any other item that anyone wanted to discuss? So I think only the cap for the composite pod group is the one that is up for review. Any other document that we need to look at or review or be part of the reviewing process?
Like, I am planning to open the beta graduation tab for Workload API and gang scheduling, like maybe this week or earlier next week.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I guess there's still a bunch of ongoing discussions in other docs that were already shared here in the previous meetings. For example, the one about the preemption.
Yeah.
And yeah, like this one for the topology or scheduling, right? And preemption, how to make it efficient. So it's still in a way an open problem. So if anyone like has any thoughts or like any ideas there, then or just want to like learn about like where we currently are, then you can take a look. And I also like plan to start a draft of KEP for this API on the controller side. I forgot about this. So basically to have a way like some, or maybe like some building blocks on the scheduling API side, and also some recommendation for the controller integrators to expose some advanced WAS features on their side, right? And yeah, Andre, like thanks for your comments, because I think like pointing out that there are controllers like job set that they have their own convention, like with this target replicated job, if I remember correctly. That's a fair point. It made me like rethink everything. So I guess what I will be sharing in the like proposing in the KEP might be slightly different than what we have in this big document of discussion. But
yeah,
one more topic. Yeah, go ahead,
sorry,
Andre.
I think it's fine. Let's definitely follow up. I guess my question is, like, there was discussion, I think, from Maciek, right, around like how we're going from Wojciech, right, like how we're going to manage it, like, you know, the job pod groups, right? So it's still kind of unclear to me. I mean, I understand the relationship between, you know, job set and jobs and pods, right? But like the question, like, who should manage the life cycle, right? We should probably talk about it during your proposal.
Let's talk. And also, if you can take a look at the KEP for the train job that you opened like a few weeks ago or something like that. I left you a comment last week, actually, explaining, like actually touching this topic in one of the comments. So you can take a look and maybe we can continue discussion there.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
There's another discussion that opened in the workload channel related to metrics. So people started to ask, actually from Q team, they were asking if we are planning to add any metrics for WAS. Do we have any plan for that? Do we want to have this discussion? Are we planning to add metrics soon?
So we are planning to add metrics, right? But not necessarily the ones that like the person that asked for. I think Kensei replied, and that's like a valid remark there, that like we cannot really expose the domain or like a placement that was chosen for a given pod group as a metric because of the cardinality, essentially, right? That's like anti-pattern to have a metric with unbound cardinality. But obviously, like when graduating to beta, we will like expose metrics for the work we are doing, the metrics that we can do and should be in scheduler code. For others, like basically we should discuss, right? We need to find some approach that will work. But I agree with Kensei that in general we cannot, like, we are much more constrained when it comes to what metrics we can expose in scheduler as the core component. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other topic to discuss? Anything else?
Just one comment. Of course, separation of a working group for VAS introduces like a good separation of concerns. So SIG scheduling planning will be also conducted on SIG scheduling meetings, because we have more things that will go into 137. So it's great that we can discuss here just VAS related and autoscaling also related, and keep it separate from other features, and we don't have to mix those topics together, which is good, I think.
Yeah, I think all was bad for sig scheduling. It's a lot of, like lots of work. It's overwhelming. So hopefully this will make life for sig scheduling leads a little bit easier. Little bit, not that much.
Yeah. So the way we so far cooperated with the array working group, it's a good pattern. So they have their own priorities. We simply need to review the stuff they are proposing. I think it works. It should work in a similar way. But what's important, VAS is the most important effort for sig scheduling. That remains not changed. So other stuff will have definitely lower priority, and we need to review it in this context because of the capacity of the team. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you all. Any other topic to discuss? Amazing. So we are closing this meeting early. Thank you everyone for attending. See you next week. Bye.
Thanks, Heba.
Bye.
All right.